Okay, so we're going to start into the demo. Sean, you guys can see everything? You're good? All you guys are good? Okay, so suffice it to say, we grabbed, by the way, Subaru was kind enough to allow us to use their system to do the demo. Next week we have the customer forum, which will be performing the same demo there. And Subaru was kind enough to allow us to use their data, their infrastructure, their setup. So suffice it to say, what happens is we have an agent or a client that rests and stays at the customer. That client is responsible for pulling all the data from the customer and sending it over to our infrastructure. Okay, we're not going to show anything about the client right now because it just gets into too much technical detail. What we want to do is just show you from the point of where we already have the data. I will say one thing about it though is that when we're pulling data from the customer, what we're doing is we're writing queries, okay, that would maybe join 3 or 4 or 5 tables, and then what happens is when it comes to us, it resides in one, what we call collection, just one. So if we join order line, shipment line, those 4 tables would give us the results or give us data in one specific collection on our side. So when the user's building their reports, they only have to worry about that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right into the nitty-gritty, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how you would build out, first of all, a query. So the steps go, you build out a query, you attach that query to what we call a widget. We'll explain what a widget is after. And then you deploy that widget onto a dashboard. So let's start at the beginning and do the query builder. So this is just finished. We're in a production system right here, and this was deployed yesterday, as a matter of fact. So it's only been ready for about a week or so, and we just deployed it yesterday.
There's a lot of bugs.
Yeah. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a count of inventory adjustments, a summation of inventory adjustments over a period of 1 year, and we're going to group it by month to date, year to date, month to date, and week to date. So that's what we're going to end up doing. So the first thing we do is we give our new query a name. Let's call it whatever you like, Nima. Call it something. Inventory adjustment demo. Can you guys mute your phones, please, on the who are dialed in? I'm hearing somebody in their car. And we add a group to it. And we click OK. So now our query is set up. All we've done is we've given it a name. The group. You can put groups into, you can put all your queries within groups. You group them by inventory, orders, shipping, whatever you'd like. And you can group those. Those groups are created manually, and you can create as many as you'd like. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select the collection where we have the inventory adjustments data within it. So the first thing we do is we come over here and we actually select the inventory adjustment collection. Okay. Now what we do is we need to add columns of data to that to our design. So what we'll do is we're going to select the warehouse ID.
These are available columns.
Those are all the available columns. If you highlight them, it actually gives you the metadata and describes what the field is within in our case within Red Prairie. So we've just grabbed over the warehouse ID, so we're getting a list of all the warehouse IDs. The next field we're going to grab is the reason codes. Okay. There you go. We drag in the reason codes. So Subaru uses numbers for reason codes. So these are all different entries within the database, giving the warehouse ID and the reason code. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to add a filter. Okay. So let's say we only want to look at warehouse. We go to the bottom and we add a filter. You go into the filter, and we give it a name. Call this one, it's going to be the warehouse ID. And then with the filter type, it's going to be a parameter. Okay, difference between a parameter, you saw it was parameter constant. The difference between parameter and constant, the parameter, when the actual widget is on the dashboard, it can be modified. If it's a constant, it cannot be modified. Okay, so we're going to put in a parameter, and the data field is going to be warehouse ID. and we're going to see, and we're going to set it to equals FLO. So that's one of Subaru's warehouses. See, now you're only getting all the warehouses for the warehouse IDs for one with their records. The next thing we want to do is we want to put in a range of the data. So let's put in a range. We'll add another filter. No, sorry, filter. And this one is going to be on the adjustment date. Just call it date. Filter type is, again, we're going to do it as a parameter, so again, it's changeable or modifiable on the widget itself on the dashboard. Okay, adjustment date, yes, that's correct. And when we put in dates, we have all sorts of options on dates. So we can have date ranges, we can have specific date ranges, we have relative date ranges. So in this case, we'll select a relative date range. And when you get into relative date ranges, then you get a whole bunch of selections under that as well. So let's go, we're going to look at all the transactions for 2015, so we just say this year. And that automatically goes to January 1st, 2015, and then we apply it. Okay, so at this point, now we've got the FLO warehouse, and we've got all the codes for the transactions for this year, okay? Now what we want to do is we need to add some calculation fields, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to add in let's start off, we're going to add in the week to date, month to date, and the year to date. Okay, so let's go into calculated field. Again, we go into modify it, and give it a name. Let's call this one week to date. Okay, and the function that we're going to use, we have special functions, okay? There's two types of processing. There's processing that builds the query, and then there's processing that happens after the query is built. A year to date, a month to date, and a week to date function, it happens all after the query is already run and executed. So right now we're going to grab the week to date function. We're going to give it a number, which maybe not the greatest field, but this is the trend quantity. And what field are we basing it off of? Okay, we're going to base it off of the adjustment date, Nima. Yeah, there we go. And that's it. That's all we're going to do for now. Okay, so what happens is now you'll notice that the warehouse ID and the reason code have both disappeared. The system recognizes that we put in a calculated field that doesn't require anything from the previous two fields. But they're used for the calculations in the background, but it knows we don't want to display it. So what we do is you're going to see here that, the warehouse ID and the reason code have disappeared. If you want to add them in, you can do that. There's a way to do that, and we might, if we have time, we can get into that later. The next thing here is you'll notice that it's 0. Well, that would mean theoretically that that FLO warehouse hasn't done any adjustments this week, which is not the case. But what's happening is when we're building it, we have a limit of the amount of rows we want to see from the database. And in this case, we have it, if you see the top right there's a limit preview of 25. So we uncheck the limit. And we'll click save and preview, and you'll see that number is going to change. So it's changed. They've done 50, they've made 50 adjustments this week. So the next, let's go in and we're going to add the month to date. In the same process. Oh, hang on, Nima.
Where do you, oh, okay, okay. I was
It's
gonna
over
say,
here.
where do you, what number you want? Yeah,
Right here.
okay.
So let's go in and add a month to date.
Yeah, the reason is because we don't want to return like millions of records out.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
That's it.
stuff. And use month date.
Yeah. We gotta get these to come in alphabetically. And the adjustment date, yeah. Apply. So now you see the amount of transactions that we did month to date. Okay. And now we'll go in and add the year to date.
So why are the warehouse ID and reason code gone now?
They're gone because they're not going to be represented within the graph itself, because this graph is specific to that warehouse. So when that graph, so based on the way it's structured, and, you know, Mara can answer this question better than I could, but the way the data is structured, somehow the system knows that that data is not going to be needed. So there's going to be a graph, Sean, out there that's going to have month to date, year to date, and warehouse and week to date. It's going to have the numbers on them,
Okay.
but it's going to be for my warehouse.
So there's
but
no way
by-
though to like group by warehouse and reason code? or
Absolutely, we could do that too.
Yeah, but that's a different.
It's a different methodology. We just wanted to go through something really simple. I mean, there's the amount of functionality that we have with this query builder is pretty it's pretty in depth. Okay, click apply. So there we go. So now we have the three quantities: year to date, week to date, and month to date. Now what we want to do is when we represent this on a graph, what's going to happen is it doesn't look very good like this. It looks, if we actually transposed it and had it look a little differently, it actually, what shows up on the graph, it looks a little better. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little pivoting function. So we're going to add a pivot function. And again, we just go in and we say what we want to pivot. So we have full pivoting functionality within the system as well. This specific pivot is just a generic transpose, meaning we're moving the data from the way it looks now, columnar, to rows. Okay, so this here we're just giving it names. Okay, and we're going to give it time frame. We're going to call the new one time frame, the new name time frame, and the value is going to be, we're going to say it's quantity. And there you go. So now you have two columns, one quantity, one time frame, and it gives you the three different ones. When you want to represent this in a graph, it looks much better than the way it was before. And it's a lot easier to create a graph out of this. So let's save this, Nima. That's it. So we've done the query. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build the graph that goes with this query. It's important to note that we are going to be building that into one screen. As soon as we're finished next week, we're going to start moving the adding of the graph or the widget into one screen. So these two will be together. Okay, so let's go into Widget Designer. Okay, and then let's create a new widget. Okay, it's basically the same thing. You select the group that you want it in, you enter the name of the widget, you enter the chart type, which we're going to leave it as chart for now, and you can give it a description.
Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we select the query that we used to build that we just created in the last screen. Was inventory adjustment demo. Okay, so now we have the query is attached to the widget. Now we have to make the proper association. So the first thing we do, well, Nima's going to save this. When it saves it actually takes you out of that specific widget. We have to go back in now. Important, probably something important to notice is that while you're building a widget, it's not available to anybody until we actually activate it. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do here is we need to go into the series, and we need to select the series that goes with this. Quantity, adjustment quantity, you can call it that. Line, we're gonna, yeah, instead of making it a line chart, let's make it a bar chart or a stack bar chart. Or let's do a stack bar chart, it's the next one down. Okay, and the field that we're going to put in here is going to be quantity. This is a little more complicated. We haven't had time to work on this, but this is all going to be made a lot simpler. So the next thing we got to do is we got to go to the argument axis. I believe, Nima, is it argument axis?
Or common series setting.
Go into argument axis. Oh yeah.
this here.
Argument field, okay, yeah, sorry. Argument field is gonna be time frame, and I'm gonna do a save and preview. Preview. What did we forget, Eva? Yes. There we go. Cool. Okay, so this is our graph, and it's ready. So the next thing we want to do, we're ready with it. It shows the quantities year to date, week to date, and month to date. There's some fixing we have to do there to get them in the right order. But let's go NEMA and activate it. Uh-huh. Okay, so now it's activated. Let's go, what we're gonna do now is this, we need to, even though it's activated, still doesn't mean that anybody has access to it. You have to add it to the users. Users have profiles, so we have to add it to their profile. NEMA's profile would be prof001 or something like that. Yeah, profile 001. You see right there, adjustment, inventory adjustment demo. We add it to the available, and we save it. And now NEMA is now free to add that one to one of the dashboards. So before we go on and add it to a dashboard, let's go and create the same one. We'll use the same query. We'll create a second widget, except this time we'll do it as a pie chart. So we go back into Widget Designer, and what we're going to do is create a new one. Again, the group would be inventory. The widget name, same thing, but maybe call it pie. Widget inventory adjustment demo pie. And we're going to make it a pie chart. And description.
Okay.
Select your query. There you go. Okay, now again, we just have to add the series in.
I have a question.
Hang on, Nina. So let's get this done first. That's correct, Nina. Body field. Okay, go back into it. The same problem. We've got to fix that, but it's, when you save it for the first time, it takes you out of it. So now we have it as a pie chart. Okay, so let's go back into, let's activate it, sorry. And go back and add it into the profile. So now we'll go back into profile maintenance. So you'll see that we have assigned widgets and we have assigned and maintenance screens as well that the users, that the profile has assigned to it. Okay, go ahead, Hussein.
What does a series mean exactly? Like when you're adding a
Your
series?
data, it's your data.
Okay, so it's like the data that associated to the widget that
Yes.
you're.
Absolutely, yes.
But it's a standard term, right, for the charts?
All that's going away though. Okay, when we build that in, when we start adding back all the graph building to the query builder, it's going to be all gone. So that type of, the way we're doing it, it's going to be all preset stuff. You'll have this type of widget and you can add properties to that widget without having to add the series and stuff like that. So we're going to do that for you. So let's go to, the next thing we want to do is let's add this now to a new dashboard. Okay? So quickly, Go back for a second, Ema.
Home.
Yeah. Sorry, leave the door open. It's we have bad Wi-Fi here. So we're this is the home screen. What are home screens? So this is the home screen. Okay, so when I log in, this is where we would actually see stuff. So what we do is, the way it works is we have a hub and spoke type of environment. Everything that's oval is is another what we call spoke. It's really a hub, but we call it a spoke. So if it's an oval, it's a spoke. So that means if I go into that, I'll see another screen like this. Okay. The rectangular ones are actual dashboards. So if I go into a rectangular one, you're going to see a dashboard. So what we want to do here is we're going to create a new spoke. Okay, let's add a new spoke in Nima for our two new graphs.
You can select your icon.
You can select an icon, or you can actually browse and you can pick one right off of your computer. Okay. So you see now it's created my new dashboard. Now, initially it represents itself as a rectangle because it doesn't know yet if it's going to be a dashboard, a new dashboard, or if it's going to be another spoke. So let's save it. It's bad. The networks are always bad in here. I don't have that port. Can you get it? Click cancel. Okay, so let's. No. Just refresh. Okay.
So slow.
You want to use tethering now?
I'm gonna put the cable.
Yeah, we're gonna cable connect, wire connect it. It's the wireless in here. We run into this every single time.
There should be a wire at the bottom.
Yeah, but I don't have a
Oh,
port.
okay.
It's one of those computers.
Oh, did it work? Everyone's going. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now we're inside the My Dashboard that Nima just created. Here, right off the bat, you're going to get, since there's nothing in it, you're going to get an option. Should I add a spoke or should I add a widget? So just for fun, I was going to say something else. For fun, let's just add a spoke. Let's add another spoke. So you can create layer upon layer upon layer of this. And it becomes useful because the system is agnostic. You can connect to JDAs, WMS, you can connect to any system. You can connect to SAP, you can connect to Oracle. So it doesn't, you can connect to automation systems. So it doesn't really matter. So it becomes useful when you log in. And if you're like some super user that works across all systems, you can have SAP, you can have JDA, you can have your CRM system, you can have everything. So here we're showing that we actually just created a new spoke within the spoke. So let's go into My Dashboard 2, Nima. Actually, we'll get rid of this for now. It was just to show you that we could do it, so let's delete it. And just remove. So we're now inside the original My Dashboard that we had created. Okay, so let's add, instead of adding spoke, let's go add some widgets. As soon as you click Add Widget, it opens up a drawer. And again, these are all the groups that we created earlier. So let's load in the stuff that the two graphs that we just created.
Some of those come standard with the product.
Yes, everything you're seeing here comes with the product.
If you click on it, you see the description of it
Yeah.
at the top. And you have also search functionality at the top. So we call that inventory adjustment demo, right?
Yeah. And the other one's pie. Okay, so here, as soon as you drop it on, it knows it needs widgets. So it's asking you to put in the property, sorry, it knows it needs widgets. It knows it needs parameters. So let's put in the parameters that we originally defined. And it doesn't, here's the key is, just because we use FLO in the design, it doesn't mean we have to stick with FLO, okay? We can actually use a different one. So I'll use PLO, Nima, for now. Okay, that was for the warehouse ID. Let's use the parameter, which is the date. Now, if you remember, we created these fields when we actually, this was at the filters at the bottom when we created in the query builder. Okay. Again, let's add a relative date. Now here we could put in anything we want. Okay. Again, so we started off with a year, so let's work with a year. Okay. Actually, there's one 365 days in there too. Okay. So we click. Did I miss something?
No? Okay.
This is the right graph. Go back into the parameters, Nima. This is the right graph. Go to FLO. Put FLO in.
Jerry,
Yeah.
I think it's when you were creating the widget, you added an extra property, you removed it after, and you went on preview and it worked. I think you might have not saved.
Okay, let's go back. Thanks, Michael. Let's go back into the widget designer. Okay. In the widget designer.
Yeah.
Where was it, Michael?
That was
You
the
had it?
second one from the top.
Common series setting?
There was one that you deleted after.
Argument access?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
So you gotta remove it, right? Okay.
Yeah, save it. Oh, okay.
Good job.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, let's go back to our dashboard. And now we get the data. Sorry about that. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. See, I'm glad I said yes when you asked to be here today. We've been struggling with for days. Okay, so we have this one on. Now let's add the other one in.
Pie one.
Okay, this one we can do PLO.
Do you want to change the range to something else, like?
No, let's keep it at 365 for a year for now. Okay. So there, now we get the pie chart for PLO. Okay. So I'm here. I'm working in. This is my dashboard, and I'm here, and I can, if I'm the director of the company, I could have. Actually, let's go in again, Nima. Actually, let's do the pie chart again. Okay, close it. Okay, sorry. Now let's do, instead of doing PLO on the pie, let's do FLO this time on the pie. Notice too that you can rename the title if you want to. So we can also go in and put the date in. Let's go 365 again, or a year, relative. So now I'm a director, and theoretically, I'm looking at this, and I want to look at all my warehouses. I'm looking at two different warehouses now. I'm looking at PLO on the left, and I'm looking at FLO on the right. And I could have 6 up there. I could have 6 up there. I could have as many warehouses as I want. The next thing we want to show you is, let's go back into the chart again. Actually, let's go back in. No, this one right here. Let's go into the first demo on FLO. Okay. And let's go into the properties. And now let's change it from a year Instead of looking at a year, I want to look at the last 160 days, or 180 days. Okay? Now, this specific save that we're doing here is going to be permanent. Okay, so the next time I open it, it's going to be, it's going to default to 180 days. So you'll notice, I don't know if you noticed, but the quantity has actually changed. Okay, this part was bigger before, and the numbers had actually changed. Now, without doing a permanent change, I can go back now and I can look at different time frames just by clicking on one of these little buttons at the top. So if I want to go back and look at, and you'll notice that the red is where it's always set to. So this one specific graph is set permanently at 180 days. Okay, so let's say we want to we want to look at 360 days, 365. So we look at 365, gives us a different look. Did it? It did? It changed the numbers?
Yeah.
Let's go back to 180. No, it's not changing.
Want to change it to 30 days?
Change it to 30 days? There you go.
So the numbers didn't go that fast.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right, because we don't have enough, we don't have data going that far back, so. So there, you can have a different look of the data, of how the data looks over a different period. But the next time you come into this widget, or this screen, sorry, it's gonna go back to 180 days, okay? So what's the next thing that we want to show?
The export?
Yeah, so I'll
So does this refresh automatically?
automatically, you go back in, you can actually go back in again. When you actually build out the widget or the query in the widget, there's a time frame that you set inside there. That sticks with the widget, but you can modify it here. See, the refresh rate is set to 300 seconds, which is every 5 minutes. You can move it and have it refresh as quickly as you want.
Just per widget.
Per widget, yes.
And also, you can, what else you can do is if you want to refresh it right away, you can refresh it using this functionality with that refresh button on there. And also you can freeze it if you don't want it to refresh.
If you don't want it to refresh, you can freeze it. For example, you want to export it, you don't want it to export during the middle of a freeze or something, and you can freeze it. So let's look at the ability. We also have the ability to export it. We can export. Sorry. We have the ability to export PDF, and then we have 3 different types of image types of files that we can export to. So let's do start with the PDF. Quick look at that, and it's going to actually show the graph. In the graph, so now you can take this and you can email it to somebody if you'd like. The next thing is if we export to Excel, it actually exports the data that's represented inside the graph. Okay. So that'll actually gives you the data, which again you can send to somebody else.
Can you export the whole page, or it's just per widget?
It's per widget for now. Yeah. Okay. So we've shown the same widget drop multiple times. We showed the export. Let's go back to the home screen, Nima. And we also have the ability to do a global search. Okay. So you log into the system. You want to look at a specific widget or see what type of widgets exist. Let's say, for example, you type in count. So if you're looking at count or cycle count, like Nima just did, it brings up all the widgets that have that name, that have that in its name. You can click on any one of them, and it brings you right to that specific dashboard. So that's a good way to find a widget that you need right away. We have built in also the concept of favorites. Is that what we're calling it, favorites? Okay, so the concept of favorites. So let's go look at the top one, the count accuracy by month. Okay. Yeah, drop it down and just say add to favorites. Okay. Just for fun, let's take the next one down, cycle count with goal, and say add to favorites. And let's take the third one and cycle counting P, and let's say add that one to favorites too. So now your favorites are there. You selected them. They're with you forever. Okay. And you can see them wherever you are in the system. So let's go back home. Right. And you see at the very bottom, there's a little arrow pointing up. Nima, can you click on that? These are your favorites. And they will only refresh when this opens up to look at them. Okay? If it's down, your favorites are down, it's not refreshing constantly like it normally would, or within the refresh cycle. On this screen, you can display one at a time. So if I just want to look at one, it shows you one, and then it cycles. So it goes to the next one, to the next page, and it cycles automatically, it's on a timer, and it goes to the next one, and the next one, and then it starts all over again. Or you can have 2 per page, and so on.
Then you can stop this.
You can stop the cycling too if you want. Okay, so let's close this, let's shut it down, Nima. Let's actually go into some screen. Yeah, go into there, it's fine. And now let's bring it up again, your favorites at the bottom. And like I said, they stay with you wherever you're going. So if you're focused on a specific screen and all of a sudden you want to look at something that's in particular, you can just bring it up and it'll show it to you. Okay. So let's go look at, actually this is the perfect place. So this is one of the screens that Subaru has created, okay? It's almost a single snapshot of labor of their labor screens that's happening right here and right now. There's only a couple of different types of graphs that they use, but it just shows the power of it. And they're using this screen every single day. The warehouse managers are on this all day long, and they're using it to monitor their people. The other thing too is I can take this on a tablet, and I can walk through my warehouse, and I can be talking to people about their performance for the day. Something that's important here is, here they're monitoring pick and pack for the day, okay? These lines here are lines that we set, okay, that represent the goals, where the people should be at for the given time frame. So, and these are users at the bottom. These are the users for that specific warehouse. This goal here is created by the person who creates the widget, and they're looking at, so these things here represent the order types. So they're saying stocks should be at 80 on that given day. VOR should be here at this level, and TRN, which is I forget what TRN is. Transfer should be at this level. Are these the ones that are set on the graph itself?
Yeah, but that's not in yet.
That's not in production yet? Okay, so me as a user, you're in 2 different warehouses, and one warehouse might have different goals than another warehouse, so these are going to be able, we're waiting to put this in production. It's going to be that the warehouse can set their own goal levels. The other one, this is the actual chart of labor itself. Can you get off? So this piece picked with the goal. The goal is coming out of the labor system, okay? So this is stock. Again, it's the different types of order types. That's how that Subaru measures it. Stock, VOR, transfers, and the goals, how they measure up against their goal percentages. So right now, if you look at STK, this is this person's goal. He's almost at 100% already. So these guys are doing pretty good. These guys, KOV and JCED, they still have some work to do on the different ones. Is this one of the ones you can remove, Nima?
I don't know. No, this is not interactive. Actually, it is.
Yeah, so this is an interactive one. If you just want to look at one of them, you can actually click on it, and it'll only show you that one. Okay? If you want to look at it again, or it removes them, sorry. So if I want it back again, I just click over here, and it brings it back again. Okay? Anything else on this one?
Not on this one. Go to.
Okay, so let's go back. Another pretty decent screen that they're looking is inventory. Here we're seeing a few different types of charts now. We have a donut for the space utilization. This is telling the number of locations under the different types of statuses, partial, empty, full, or unusable. Here's one that's just showing other than unavailable. So you have the max, a big amount here is packaging and repack and hold and damaged.
This one is interactive too.
Yeah, that one's interactive too. So if I just want to look at hold and damage, and I just click on packaging and repack, and it gets it right out of there. If you want it back, you just click on the legend again to the right-hand side. Okay. Space utilization. This is space utilization of how it looks, I would say, going back to 26th of September. Right? Inventory adjustments. This is showing the dollar value for the inventory adjustments today, week to date, month to date, year to date. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is an absolute value. This is not plus minus. So it's, you know, it could be 5 million down, or 2.5 million down, 2.5 million up for the year to date. But this is the adjustments for this specific warehouse. What else, Nima?
Sharon?
Okay, so let's go into the next facet. is what we want to do is we want to be able to do a lot of collaboration with the site. So what we've built in is the ability to share. Okay, so I'm Jerry Brady, I can go out and I create 6, 7, 8 dashboards. Or 2 dashboards, it doesn't really matter, I put all my graphs in there and I want to share these with people. So we've built in the ability to share them. So let's pick my dashboard again, okay? And get it up. Now I want to share this dashboard with this user here. You notice here, this user is demo 1. We're going to share it with demo 2. So all we do is we click the little icon here at the top right. We say share. We select the recipient to demo 2. Enter a title. Just call it my dashboard. And we just call it my dashboard. You have an optional description that you can enter here. Hi there. And you just say OK. So what we're going to do, Nima's going to open up another browser.
Nima figures it out. You're back.
Yeah.
I would. Okay, so he's going to log in as demo 2. Demo 2 at forum.com. Okay, and you'll notice right away that there's a little, right up here, there's a little message for demo 2 that something is going on right now. And what he's gotten from demo 1, he's gotten a notification that he wants to share his dashboard with him. So we just simply click on that. And the first thing that happens is we get a preview of the dashboard, what it looks like. This is an image, it's not a real, they're not real graphs, it's an image. And we have the option of applying this in a specific place, which you would click specify which spoke you want to apply it to, or you simply just apply it right here. We'll do the apply here, because that's what we tested this morning, and then it adds the dashboard for you right here. You can go into the dashboard right away, and it's working for you. I bet it's working. I bet it works.
Wow.
So, I think the next thing that we want to show is, so what we've done is we really want to get this out to a lot of people, a lot of customers, and we want to do it. I don't really care if we get a lot of customers ourselves. I want just to have a lot of customers on it. So what we did is we branded the system. This is ready right now for partners to go out and manage their own customers with it. And they manage their own customers. They do it under their logo, their banner. They do the support. They do the implementation. They can do everything. So let's log out, Nima. We got one little detail that we still got to work through. That's the initial page here. So what's going to happen is, Nima, is go into, type up here, or have you done that yet? What?
Try on.
Type Tryon Solutions.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying which.
The
So let's say
login.
I'm one of Tryon's customers, right? I would go to tryonsolutions.cadenceby.com. And then I would get the login. So this is the part we haven't done. The only thing we haven't done yet is they should be Tryon's colors right here, and it's not. But that'll be done fairly shortly. So Josh, J-O-N, at Tryon Solutions. So now you log in, and now you're all Tryon's logos, and now they can manage their own customers, they can invoice their own customers, they can do everything from here. So just go into the maintenance screens. See, and there's another thing we got to fix up is this here. The default image. So they have access to the entire same system. They can build the same infrastructure with their customers if they want to as well. So that's that. The last thing, which I wasn't ready for, and I apologize, is the roadmap. Immediate future is going to happen starting next week. We're going to start building in the ability to have the functionality of having the graph, the widget building right in the query builder. The other thing that we're building in is that's related to collaboration again, is that you're going to be able to build a PowerPoint presentation using the graphs within the system. Okay, so the graphs are in the system. You can use
you can grab a graph within the system and attach it to your PowerPoint presentation within the system. You can add notes to it and columns, notes and messages to that graph, and then you can save it, and then you can present it to somebody. You want to go into a meeting, then you've used the actual graphs within the system to present to upper management, for example. Okay, and those presentations will be saved in perpetuity. So what happens is, if I go in and I have a graph of all my users, and a guy was down here, I can say Joe Blow, he only did this because of this week. He had a sore arm or something, so his productivity was very low. That will be saved. So next month when I come out and I see Joe Blow, or 3 months from now when I see Joe Blow again and he's low again, then I can go back and I can look at all the different presentations we made at the back and see what notes I made against that user as well. The next thing is I would like Nima, if you can you? We were supposed to demo it. We're modifying the home screen completely. It's going to look completely different. It's going to be built in sections. Yeah, we're going to be building it in sections, and you're going to be able to see.
Not on your laptop either.
What's that?
Do you have that?
My laptop, yeah.
Yeah.
How much time have we spent already? An hour only?
Yeah.
No, yeah, we'll do it. We'll show it, but we were trying to keep it to 45. Where somebody's getting your laptop? Oh, Mike's getting his laptop. Okay, perfect.
He's on the
I have a
branch.
question.
I'll have to change branch.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Can we
Questions?
ask questions in the meantime?
Yes, go ahead.
That was a question I realized that as I'm
Yes.
approaching it. You're talking about the system being agnostic in terms of what you connect it to or integrate it with. How does, and this is maybe a little bit more technical, but how do you differentiate between, say, pulling from shipment line, order line, whatever, JDA tables versus Oracle or SAP? Like, how do you pull that data into collections and understand what you have within a given collection at that point in time?
Where's Connor? What happens is there's a whole infrastructure. So first of all, there's a client that sits at the customer. Okay, it's like an agent, and he has his own little database. So far, what we're doing is we're giving the customer virtual machines. It connects. So you create, just like any other system, you create a connection. That connection goes to JDA, for example. And Marek built that part. So JDA, you connect to JDA, right?
So it's like the JDBC connection for JDA?
Exactly, it's a JDB. I think it is a JDBC
It is
connection.
JDBC.
Okay. And what happens is you have a connector now. It's all set up and it's running, and that connector, what it does is it runs. You have to develop queries. It's in one of the maintenance screens. Is you develop the queries to take out.
Okay, so there's a setup
Yes.
of polling, and,
Yes.
and that's set up at that
100%.
level. Okay.
Actually, Nima, can you go? Well, maybe Michael could actually just quickly show it to them. But there's a whole polling thing. So then you have a connection, right? Then what happens is that connector, you can create another connection. You would create that connection to SAP, for example, or to Oracle. And then you would start writing queries against that connection. And what happens is you specify where you want that data to go in our system. That's automatic too, right? Like I say, I create that order line, a shipment line, and I say I want it to go into shipment information, and it automatically go into data shipment information. You don't even have to do anything.
And so those are just generic collections that we have in our system that basically make sense within the
JDA.
warehousing.
Yes, correct. And then what we have here was specific to Subaru stuff.
Okay.
So Michael's going to show you the actual homepage stuff that we've been working on.
Nima, can I log into your account?
Yeah. It's gotta be, or, yeah. It's a dev, it's dev, so.
This is
there's
our
a lot
dev
of
system.
in there, so don't.
So this is when you log in, this is what your home screen is going to look like. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so again, you have your favorites down here. Here you would have direct access to, let's say you're a maintenance person or you're an administrative person, you have direct access to your screens here. One of the things we didn't show you, but as the screen scales down, let's say to a telephone, like an iPhone or whatever, the menu structure changes too. You get menu instead of getting the hub and spoke. Activity stream is going to be just a bunch of information, what's going on right now. Somebody created a new widget, for example, or a new user got added to the system, or whatever. There'll be an activity stream of things that are going on. This one here, under development, is what we're doing is we're thinking of creating a specialized widget that can be used for different things. One of the things we'd like to use it for is notes. So I'm a warehouse supervisor that runs and I work in a warehouse that runs 3 shifts, 7 days a week. I can enter notes in there. I can date it, enter a note, means it's a message passed on to the next supervisor, or it's a note that I could use for myself 3 days from now when I have to come back out, that I have to do things. So that's the next thing that we're looking at.
Maybe we can ask the team if they have any suggestions.
Well, I was going to ask two things. Number one is I'd like everybody to think about the name. We're calling it Cadence, but we're a little skittish on the name. We don't know if it's a great name or not, or a good name. And the second thing that we want to ask you is, does anybody have a good idea of what they would like to see on this screen? So you can take away those two things, and if you want to come back and talk to me, or send us an email.
Context out of it.
Yeah, maybe we could. There's another thing too that we forgot to mention, is the system also has the ability to monitor operating systems. So, and we use it to monitor our own operating system of our virtual machine that's at the customer site. So we monitor CPU, we can monitor memory, disk space, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Is that similar to the console? The way Repair does it?
I don't know. No. It's graphical. You should be able to do it here, Nima, I believe. No?
Should, he doesn't have it on the here, probably.
Oh, okay.
I gotta go to Merrick's. No, we can have it.
Just create one. Start design dashboard. Just go to my dashboard. Go add a widget. OS. Actually, you know what? Can you put in this connector client logs?
Yeah, finish those on the
Yeah.
grids, yeah.
Because one of the one of the widgets that we didn't show you is actually there's no logs, there's no errors. Is actually tabular forms. We have tabular forms as well. Maybe we could show.
Yeah, let's go to
Here's a tabular form. So instead of being a graph, we actually have like an Excel format type of thing. And these columns at the top are movable. So you can, they're groups, there's created groups. So you can, I think you can remove them, right? Well, add some new ones in, add the user in. Yeah, exactly. See, you can drop the user up there. And then now everything's broken up by user, so you can scroll through and look at a user on a per user basis. You can even come into the search. Let's go into the search, Nima. And you can look for a specific user. Let's try a TDEV. Does that work? So that would give you that specific user. It's very useful. We have current order status widget, which is very valuable because if you want to look up something that's going on with a specific order, you can come into the chart wherever we have it. I don't know. You can enter the order number and you can see what the current status, staged, in process, or whatnot. So that was one of the things that we had forgot to show you. So let's go back. Let's go back to the my dashboard. Let's see if we've got anything else. That's not CPU usage, maybe. Yeah, try the OS RAM gauge. Right here. There we go. So this is the connector client. The connector client is right now, it's about 100% CPU RAM usage. But don't get fooled by that. It's that machine has a version of MongoDB on it, and MongoDB takes up all the memory of the machine. So basically, we have this. We have CPU. We have disk space usage. I want to get the disk space usage. See if I can grab the disk space usage. I haven't looked at that one in a long time. Here, Nima.
Is it just the connector that you can look at, or can you actually look at the service?
Anything, as long as we're pulling from there.
Yeah, so this is the RAM. This is the disk usage on that machine. What else is there? What was your question, Sally? It made me think of something.
is it only the connector that you can look at?
No, any machine, any machine. So we can look at this, the JDA machines if we want to, the WM, we can look at any machine. Questions?
Is there anything that looks at the PDI's data?
You can build it, Anna.
You can build it?
Easily, very, very easily. Subaru hasn't specifically asked for it yet, but I think it's coming.
Okay.
They're also talking about interfacing with their transportation management system, which is Agile. They're using Agile. They want information out of that system. They are talking about getting iPads for the warehouse supervisors. They're talking about putting screens up in the warehouse that shows the productivity data. Yeah. So. Yeah, they're very, very, very happy. The comment was to us is they said, I had asked the question a few weeks ago. I said, if we pull the system out today, would you be unhappy? They said, very, very unhappy. So.
Have you guys you've been working with them too?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, in,
Merrick's been working with them.
Okay, for ideas.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like all those graphs that we saw with the labor, that's all them.
Mhm.
That's all them.
And we could easily take this now. Like
Put it
this
anywhere,
state,
any customer.
Any WMS.
Any WMS. Any system. Like I said, in the original presentation, 24 hours is the maximum we need. The only problem that we're going to run into is with customers getting past IT to put our client on our system. We'll give them the virtual machine if they want, but it's always seems to be our stumbling block, is getting past them.
Yeah.
When we take data out of their system, we encrypt it, we pass it out, on port 443 on an HTTPS port. So it's all secure, and they do not have to open any ports in at all. So, but it is important that client stay up and running. So.
For example, one of the things we're doing for the forum, we're connecting it to Sprocket,
Which is Trion system.
Okay.
And we were planning to get some data, the statistics live from users, like number of steps they're taking and all that stuff, and actually show graphs against
Yeah.
it.
And what's the billing matrix for this?
$1 million.
$1 million?
Billing matrix.
How much are you charging the client? and-
We want to charge them based on the amount of data that we pull out of their system, that they send to us. So right now, the number that we've come up with, which seems to make sense to us, is 47 cents per meg that they send. For the average customer, let's say, we're working with Polaris right now. The pricing is about $4,000 a month. Yeah. So.
That's very impressive. Not the
Yeah.
pricing, but I mean
Yeah.
the actual system.
Well, the whole thing is what we could not show anybody until that query builder. We felt until that query builder was ready. Because go back, open up the query builder. We'll actually show you what a query looks like when we develop them. Open up. Go. Yeah. Do the search, Nima. Go. Do the labor one. Job code pivot. So this is actually one it has a query in it, a big query, and it actually does all the pivoting of the data too. This is a real pivot. The other one we were showing you was more like a reverse pivot or just transposing everything. This one actually takes all the records. What you ended up having was user column. You had you would have a user column, and you would have another column with the work type, or job code type, and then another column with the quantities, and you'd have multiples. What this one actually did was it pivoted it, summed up every single one on a per job code type, and found the percentage of it. But oh, did we take it off?
No, code?
Oh,
Yeah.
code?
Yeah.
No, pipeline. Show the pipeline. So this is what the query looks like that we build in the background.
This is not the query against the WMS.
This is the query against
the
our
normal-
system.
Our
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we use more than one collection for?
No, one collection at a time. First of all, the big problem is that the database that we're using, Mongo, does not allow you to do joins. There's a way to do it, but it's very complicated. But no, the whole concept is Mutu, is we want people to be able to use it. If we start adding multiple tables, then people have to now understand how to join tables. You have to join them against the primary keys, and we didn't want that. We want them to work against kind of one Excel spreadsheet and build it all out from there.
And they can create their flows too if they want to make sure that.
So if we have two different dashboards or two different widgets, then we need to have two different collections technically, like if they're like really unique.
If the two different widgets,
Like similar widgets,
yeah,
but then showing two different kind of information. Let's say
Yes.
it's joining like multiple tables there, and then it's joining two different tables. But then
No,
we
but
need
you're
to
not
have-
doing one table to one table in WMS. We bring in like 5 tables.
right, the
into one
collection brings in.
So you can do anything you want against that 5 tables, but if you want to add a 6th table from somewhere
Need
else,
need a collection.
yeah, you need a collection. But usually when we bring in the entire shipment collection with us. So
Structure.
you don't need, when you're writing queries like that, you're usually writing
Very
against the
well.
shipment structure.
But for example, for the adjustments, are you getting this from where? From Translog?
This is adjustment, image, the images.
some of them are just one table.
Mhm.
It's just a one-to-one, some of them are, but I mean, it really is, if you can get all the information out of one table, then it's great. But a lot of them are multiple joins on the connector side that move into one. So like, I mean, if you go into, just click on this. See, this is all the data collections that we've built in up to date for Subaru. See, like the work queue. The work queue is a very strange one. The work queue, actually, we wipe it out every 5 minutes, and we import the whole thing all over again because it's so transient. It's constantly changing.
How often does the
So-
collector actually pull?
It's user setup. Right now, I think most of them are set to 5 minutes. And then the refresh on our side depends on the user.
Right.
Again, it could be, so theoretically, you can do it 1 minute and 1 minute if you want. So you'd be behind 2 minutes. And you can do 30 seconds, 30 seconds.
I gotta
So
help-
these collections, can these be modified by the users?
No. Can the collections themselves be modified by the users? The collections themselves, Sean, are automatically generated based on the result set that comes from the main system. So I create a result set from JDA. That is going to be the direct result that you're going to get into our system, whatever that result set looks
Okay.
like. Now,
Can they modify those result sets?
yes. Can we modify the result sets on our side? You mean?
Yes.
No, they're read-only. Now, if you go into your original query and you add a field, as of that minute, that field will now exist within that same collection. Do you understand? Did I answer your question?
Mhm.
Should I show them the query? Slow the.
Yeah, sorry. It's a little complicated, and this one takes a little more getting used to. The Flow Designer, this is actually where we have to write queries to do this stuff, but
Right.
pull up count accuracy, count history. Then you look at the first step is double click on that. So this is the query that we're getting stuff out of JDA system.
So you can
Okay.
modify this.
But they could set this up themselves if they wanted
Yeah.
to.
They can. Well, you see, we're still having that debate, Sean. We're still having
Okay.
that debate. We're having that debate because we don't want to slow down the users from building things. So we might end up doing it ourselves for the customer. So we might use our own expertise to develop these queries. Because the guy who's the supervisor or advanced Excel user is not going to know how to do this stuff. So we're still debating on how we want to do this part of it.
The infrastructure is there,
So
but
if-
we just want to.
Yeah, the infrastructure's there, absolutely.
Okay. So if they added a custom field to the order table, they could come in here and add that field to a query that pulls our order data, and then they have that available to.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is all the records that are there up until now will not have that field, and every record after that
Right.
will have that field.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mongo is very flexible that way.
and very, very flexible. And we actually do nothing. We do nothing on the Mongo side. It does it all automatically.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, you in the cheap seats.
Yes. Are you guys creating also like help files and like?
Yeah, we just got the
No,
yeah,
it's okay.
absolutely. It's all going to be video.
Okay.
It's going to be video driven.
Oh, how does-
all be
oh.
video.
Online.
That query builder, we took something that was very simple, but there's a lot of work in managing and figuring out how you want to represent your data. Now, if you look at the query builder, you'll notice that there's only 3 queries in there in the query builder.
Okay.
Because we just rolled it out yesterday, and we now have to convert every query from what was there initially to the new query builder. So we have to go through all that stuff. But the thing is it's because of the way we structure. One of the big things we have to worry about was security. So we cannot, like all these SQLs are completely sanitized before they get saved. Like you cannot use the word delete, you cannot use the word update, you cannot use the word truncate. There's like you're not allowed to use it there. Not to mention the client that we connect to should be read-only too from the customer. So, but on our side, we had to worry. We couldn't store queries. We cannot execute queries. We had to do it in such a way that it was secure. Like you cannot, like there's a JavaScript function called eval. We could not use eval to do that. So instead of storing the query, which we do not do, we store a structure that we designed ourselves that we run through code that actually builds the query when it gets executed. So when a widget pulls in data, it goes and it selects out that query, that whole query builder. It looks at the structure, runs through the entire structure, builds out the query, and then it executes it. So that's what took us so long to get here. And
Very cool.
everybody has done some great stuff. The GUI guys have done some amazing stuff, like you saw with the favorites on the bottom, and it's so much different. And Marek on the server side, and he did all the the connector, which is the connector in itself is something. Is that thing can be down for 3 days, or your network can be down for 3 days, and it'll recoup in everything for 3 days. So you have 3 days. You go down, you have 3 days to recoup everything and not lose any data in the system. Yeah. I'm sure we could do more if we wanted to. It's just a matter of setting it up. But it really was, to me, this really was an architectural feat to get all this working like this. Nima and his guys with the GUI, and Michael and Connor and Karthik and Marek did a wonderful job.
Good job, guys.
Any other questions?
Who did the video?
I did the video.
No, I know that. I mean, the actual.
I did.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The actual
I'm even more impressed.
frames.
The drawings, the frames. and all
No,
that.
the draw. I don't draw myself.
Well, I know.
Yes, but no, I did it. Yeah.
At first, I didn't know who it was.
Well, that's what Tina said. I was talking to her yesterday. You go, who is that? And I know you don't recognize that voice.
Until you said I went to. I was on a flight to Toronto or something. I was like.
Yes, Mr. McLeese.
Do we have a timeline? Like, obviously this is beta. Do we have a timeline for actually releasing
Yeah,
and
we're
pushing
ready.
out?
We're ready to go now, Sean.
Right
So
now.
if you guys want to talk to your customers about this and you want to show it to them, or then feel free to talk about it. We're willing to. We're already talking to several customers. Talking to Polaris. We're talking to Sean. What are they? The J&B,
JMB.
LTD. LTD's coming to our conference. So already we have quite a few Subarus on board. Yeah. So.
Jared, Pepsi could be huge.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, and that's why I was really hoping they would come to the conference so they could see this. But I would fly down and go give them a demo, or and another thing too is we're not just going to be doing help files and stuff like that. What we're also going to be doing is training everybody on how to use this once we learn how to use it.
Work in progress.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So
Very good.
that's it. Anything else?
That was pretty cool.
Looks really good.
Very good.
A few sweaty moments there. My God, Michael was here.